I get excited. I'm like, oh yes, okay, and that keeps me going, knowing that I don't have to wait 3 days to hear back from you really helps a lot.
Yes.
It helps me with the momentum, because I don't always get the opportunity to jump on and do the work, but when I'm on it and I'm like in the zone, I love that, within 24 hours or less, you responded to me. Sometimes you responded to me within 2-3 hours, which is remarkable. I'm like, thank you. And it helps me to keep going while I still have the time to focus on the work, which has been great so far. So I would definitely recommend it to anyone. As a matter of fact, if I meet anyone that's in my position where I'm at right now and they need to, I'm definitely going to bring them your way, because so far it's definitely been worth the investment, and I'm really happy so far.
For me, I'm accomplishing my goals because there's detailed process, step-by-step process in your program as to what to achieve each week. And then we have a call each Friday to go over what we have accomplished and if we have any differences and any issues. So for me, I love it because it's a step-by-step process. You hold our hands through the beginning to the end, and it's made me see, all the things that I needed to get done, and I'm getting them done because there is accountability to getting them done and staying on track. So I do love that about the program.
I would say that if you want to grow your business, even if you're not sure what you want to do, this is a great program to be able to figure out what your niche is, or just to learn more about how to market your business. There's also the camaraderie, the support that you get. You're not alone. You're only alone if you choose to be. But the support and the help, whether it's with you, Sunday, or with someone else that's in the group, it's a great opportunity to learn, build, and explore and expand.
So the program overall was great. The initial start of the program was kind of crazy because I didn't know what I was getting into. I really didn't understand what we were going to do. I thought we were going to kind of just talk about travel, how we were going to, call people and say, hey, book a trip with me, or send out some mail to people, not email, but mail. So once I caught the groove of the classes and the trainings and working through that process of it, it became like real easy, real simple.
Okay, so permission to be raw, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, so I said, number one, she looks like me,
Awesome. That's exactly what I want to hear.
And it's good. I'm not biased or anything, but it was just the fact that it's hard to find someone to relate to you who knows. I've been told, don't post your picture and on your business in case there's someone who's not of your race and they won't book with you. And I'm like, well, how are they going to know who I am, right? So when I saw you, I was like, yeah, I'm going to go with her. And then I like that you were raw. You didn't beat around the bush. You just said what you had to say. I heard about the bees in your head, and I'm like, who is she talking to? So I just liked it. I love the real you and how you let it be known. If you don't like it, then you might have to go somewhere else. And that's the kind of business that I want. I don't want to have to be a different person just so I can make money. So that was one of the main reasons.
Happy Monday. How is everybody doing today? So as you guys come on, what I'd love to hear in the comments is where are you listening from and what are you drinking? Let me know. It is Monday evening, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and I am ready and raven revving. Is that the way? Is that how you say it? Revving, and I'm revving to go. I'm raring to go. I'll have to figure out how to say that. So I am like the queen of like cliches, but I never know how to say the cliche. So let me know in the comments where you're listening from and what you're drinking, because I always say it's happy hour somewhere. I am drinking still, unfortunately, water. So, as soon as I can, I will be back to drinking my happy hour drink during these live sessions. But for the time being, and while I'm on this pain medicine, I'm still drinking water. So let me know where you're listening from and what you are drinking. So we are now, this is the first Monday after a holiday. How was your Monday back from work? Back from holiday? How was it getting back into the groove of things? I'm going to say that like I've been raring to go all day long from like this morning, from the top of the morning to now. I've been operating at full speed ahead. So I would have to say that my rest time was pretty eventful. Like I understood the assignment. Like I understood that I was supposed to rest, even though I worked a little bit. I feel like I understood the assignment. I got the rest done, and I was definitely ready to come back and get her done today. So. How was y'all's weekend? How was spending time with friends and family? Were you ready to get back in the saddle, or do you need more time? Tell me what's going on, because, we are coming up towards the end of the year. I was just talking to one of the program coaches earlier today, and I was like, we were talking about all the stuff that we got going on. And she was like, hey, when we get to the first of the year, like when we get, closer to 2022, and I was like, we just can't get any closer to 2022 except for it to be 2022. Like we are literally 5 weeks away. I don't even think it's that many. Let me look at the calendar. I think we are officially 4 weeks away before the end of the year. 1, 2, 3, 4. We are 5 weeks away. If you include this Monday, we are officially 5 weeks away till 2021 is a wrap. Are you guys ready? Are you ready? I love this time of year. How do you guys feel about this time of year? I really love, so if you don't know me, my background is in project management. So I love planning. I love the activity of planning, strategizing. I took a long time ago, I took this personality test. I don't remember. It was the Strengths Finder. That's what it was. Strengths Finder 2.0. So I don't know if they're on 4 or 5.0 now, but when I took it, it was 2.0. And so the company I was working for at the time, the objective of this training was to, if you were a low person like me, they wanted to ascertain your top 5 strengths. And if you were an executive or something like that, I think they went further in the executives. I was an executive. I was a project manager. And so one of my 5 strengths, if I remember my top 5 strengths, 1 is strategy, 1 is communication, 1 is connecting. I'm also an activator. And these are all things that make up my DNA, which they were totally on point. And so this time of year is the time of year that I love, because it's really about strategy, reflection, activate. We don't do a lot of activating in this time of the year in our business, but we do a lot of strategy, and we are strong January activators. I kind of like to wind down this time of year so that we start the beginning of the year like we come out the gate we've been running a sprint marathon for months. So we come out strong in January, because we take this end of the year time to reflect. We take off the last 2 weeks of the year. I always said if I was going to start a company that I was going to do it where we had the last 2 weeks of the year, and we've been doing that for now 4 or 5 years now. So we always take the last full 2 weeks of the year off, and in great regard, we're going to be doing that again. So we really only have 3 more weeks before we are on end of the year vacation. So we got 1, 2, 3, 3 more Mondays, and it's a wrap for us. So I wanted to like do this topic, and it came to me. I had another topic. I always do that. Like I do all this planning around all the topics that we're going to talk about, and then the last minute I do a switcheroo, and the team's like, "What are you doing? Like we already have all the stuff laid out." And so anyway, I decided to do this topic, and so in fashion, I'm going to ask you some questions, and I want you to let me know if this sounds like you. If this sounds like you type a 1. If it doesn't sound like you or you're cool, type a 0. Okay, so the first question is, are you a knowledge seeker? Like, do you like information? Like, do you like, I literally can tell you that my story is, quick story, because I always have a story about everything, right? So when I was a little wee babe, because I'm so not a little wee babe anymore, but when I was like in high school and in college, I was a debater. So I debated at the collegiate level, I debated in high school. And what does that mean? Really, it's just a formal way of I love to talk, right? And I got trophies for talking really well. And so, but part of this process was you really had to like be a researcher. Like you had to like enjoy research. And, I was talking to one of my good colleagues, and her and I are both like techie geeks, right? So we like geek out over software. Like, I mean, literally, I can go down a rabbit hole. Like, I want to learn something. Google and the internet is like my worst enemy, because I'm like, I can find it. I don't need to wait for the answer. I need to go talk to somebody. I'm just going to go and get the knowledge myself. So I am a knowledge seeker. I'm a researcher, and that is what I am. And so type a 1 if that is you too. Like you just seek out knowledge. Like if you want to learn a thing, is the first thing that you do is go to Google and type how to fill in the blank. Is that you? Like that's me. Like I was trying to figure out how to do something this weekend, and my husband's like, "Go to bed," and I'm like, "No, I gotta go. Like I gotta find the answer to this." So I'm on like literally my body is like contorted because I'm on the phone at night, like scrolling, not only through the corny videos that I love watching at night to help unwind, but it's because like I'm like doing all this research and all this knowledge, right? So is that like something you can relate to? Like you're a knowledge seeker. Number 2 question I want to know is like, do you feel like you can always get the answer? Like when I first started my entrepreneur journey, I remember this was back in early 2000s, and the internet was certainly there, but it wasn't like it was then. It wasn't like then, right? Like there was no, I mean, I don't even think there was Wix then. Like there was no Wix, there was no website developed. Like you just had to point and drag and click. What you had was web designers that charged you a crazy amount of money to build some pages, or you could build it yourself if you were willing to learn how to do the coding. And so I just told you I'm a geek, right? I am a nerd. So I like when we first opened up our barbershop, I was like, I think I got some quotes, and I was in the space back in, because we opened up our barbershop in 2006. So I was of the opinion back in 2006 that I could do it. Like I could learn it, I could do it, and I could do it cheaper and faster than anybody, right? So I got a quote for our barbershop site. It was like, bullshit, I'm paying $2,000 for a website. I can do this myself, right? So that's what I did. I was like, I'm smart. Like I can do it. Like I could totally like learn how to develop a website. Like my background's in IT. Like I used to do this for a living. Like I didn't develop it, but I managed teams of people who did develop. So it's like, it can't be that hard, right? I can go and do this. I can learn how to do this. And I was like, so I went on the internet and I was like, well, how do you do it? Like, how do you learn how to, I think by that time in 2006, I had taken an HTML class, and this is like old. This is before JavaScript. And again, I'm going to like geek out. Like this is before Wix. I just want to tell you, this was a time before Wix. This was a time before drag and drop editor websites, and you could create. I think Wix had maybe just started back in 2006, but it wasn't anything like it was now. Like they didn't have the amount of templates, because literally I buy this template and I commenced to build our own barbershop website. I'm like, I can do it for cheaper than $2,000. Like, I'm gonna go buy this software that's $189. I'm gonna buy. I think the software was like, I don't know, it was $100, right? It was maybe $200. The software was $200, and this was right when like the whole drag and drop editor. It was called WYSIWYG. Like, this totally dates me, right? It's like what you see is what you get. So like you could drag and drop components to a website. And I bought this website template for $80, and literally I spent the next 2 months of my life trying to figure out how to get this damn thing published. Then I ended up having to hire somebody to take my template and then implement it, right? So if you forgot the question by now, the question I asked was, are you the type of person that feels like you can get the answer yourself? All you got to do is a little research and you can do it yourself, right? Or is that you? Like, does that like sound like something that you are? I certainly was that person when I first started my business. Literally, I took 4 weeks to figure it out that I can't do. Like, I could do it, but then I was like, so you know what ended up happening? I forget the story. So I buy the template, I do it myself. I hire somebody, he does it or she does it, I remember. And then I ended up spending another like 2 or 3 weeks like editing what they were doing because they didn't do what I wanted them to do, right? So literally 6 weeks to get like 4 pages out. It was rudimentary, like it was ridiculous. And I just ran across the software. We moved a couple months ago and I just ran across the software. It was Microsoft Expression. So again, tells you how much of a geek I am. But anyway, I was back in 2006, the person who was like, I can learn it myself because I am a knowledge seeker and I'm a researcher. So it can't be that difficult, right? I can do it myself and I can learn by researching, right? Because many people are not researchers. I was like top debater in college. I could talk really well and I could research really well. So I was like, those are a perfect combination to being an entrepreneur, right? So that's number 2. Number 3 is you're not afraid to do the legwork. Type of number 1, like you're not afraid to like get her done. Like, is that you? Like, does that express you? I'm not afraid, right? Nothing really scares me. Like, if somebody created it and there's instructions, I feel like I can do it, right? Now, I was back in 2006. It's now 2021, about to be 2022. So what, how many years ago is that? That's what, like, it's almost a lot. It's a long time, right? Doing the math in my head. It's a long time ago that I had this feeling. So what we're going to talk about is so before I always forget to introduce myself. So for those who catch us in the replay or watching this, my name is Sunday Gardner, the online travel boss, and I teach you all things launching, operating, and marketing a successful and profitable travel business. And today we're going to talk about how you can stop drowning in information and start acting and winning. All right. So the reason I asked you those questions was because this means that you are probably, if you answered 1 to any of these questions, you're the type of person that's like, I can learn it, I can do it, and I'm going to do that. Right. So what ends up happening to these types of people like me, right, is you get overwhelmed by information. So just talking with a friend of mine just the last week, and I'm a project manager. So what does that mean? I know how to manage projects. I know how to manage scope. I know how to deliver. I know how to act. I know how to get other people to act right. But I have a business and I still do the same thing that every other entrepreneur does, which is I particularly, not so much now, but certainly when I started, I was the type of person that was not only can I learn a thing, I can do a thing, and I'm going to be the one to do it. And not only that, I'm type A and I'm a perfectionist, right? I'm not all those things. I would say that I'm not all those things now, but right. So are those like things that you can connect to? So what happens is one of two things happen. You end up getting burnt out because you do so many things, right? Or two, you do nothing because all you do is capture information, right? Literally, I was talking to like I could show you my notes. Like, so I use this app that's from Google. It's called Keep, and it's a note taker, right? So it's like, I mean, there's all sorts of different notes, right? So I start these notes on different topics so that I don't forget what I was thinking about. Because literally, I could think about a thing and forget 5 minutes later what I was thinking about. So I like to take a little note about a topic. But what I used to do, and what, I've talked to many of you travel business owners, and what many travel business owners, and this is really business owners in general, what happens is you start your travel business and then you start to seek out all this information because you are new to the industry. You don't know what it really means to be a travel professional. You've been a travel person on the other side of travel normally. There are some of you who have worked for suppliers and you know what it is like to be on behind the scenes, but you still haven't had your own business, right? So what you are in this mode of is like, it's like, have you guys seen that meme, Holy Spirit activate? Like, this is what happens to travel business owners. It's like information activate, right? It's like, oh shit, I'm signed up with the host agency. Oh my God, I need to check. I got this supplier training. I got this supplier training. And you go into knowledge activation, right? Does that make sense? Like you start like hoarding all of this information because you don't know all that you don't know about the travel business. So you become a information hoarder, right? You're like, I need to learn about, I don't know anything about hotels. I don't know about airlines. I don't know about marketing. I don't know about launching. I don't know about this. I don't know about this. And so you start capturing and start getting all this information. And the host agencies they like that activation fire, if that makes, because they then start sending you and giving you all of this information. Can anybody relate to that? Like, can you relate to that sort of activation that happened when you started, right? And so some of you listening may not have actually started and you're thinking about it. So this means that you are in preliminary knowledge activation and you are about to really start getting inundated with information, right? So information literally is just a fancy word for data, right? It's a bunch of how-tos, it's a bunch of data that hopefully helps you make decisions. That's what information is designed to do. It's hopefully like when you're a business owner, particularly most of us who are business owners and we're small business owners, right? We don't have the luxury of just getting information so we can tuck it away, right? We're trying to get momentum in our businesses and we're trying to get it quickly. But again, what happens is you are like activated with information and knowledge seeking to try and overcompensate for the fact that you are new to the industry. Does that make sense? Like, so what happens is you start like getting more and you get more and you get more and you get more. And literally, like, I will tell you, like, this happened to me this morning. I had like, I don't know, 500 screens open. Like, I believe that I have a little bit of ADHD, right? And I think to be an entrepreneur, you have to have a little bit, and I'm not trying to make fun or minimize, but I literally do think that I have a little bit of ADHD, right? Attention deficit, because I am like my brain is just cannot stay on one topic. It's just like flip, 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 flip. Right. So I had, I don't know, literally it felt like it had 100 tabs open, multiple different sessions of the internet open and tagged. So I was in this meeting and I'm trying to explain stuff and I couldn't think straight. Like, can you guys relate to that? Like, I couldn't think straight because there was so much information that was just right there. I couldn't find what I was looking for. And I was just, and I'm sure it happens to everyone, but like, I just felt like I was having a little miniature meltdown. I was like, and then my husband comes in, like the plumber, like we had a leak yesterday and the plumber comes in and he's trying to explain to me with the plumber. And I was like, I just cannot. So I shut everything down. I was like, I need to start from scratch. Like, I don't care what I was working on. I shut it all down. Like, do you ever get like that where you are just on information overload? And I'm going to tell you, the industry that does it the most for me is the travel industry, right? Because when I signed up to be a travel agent, it's been now 5 years now. When I signed up to be a travel agent, like I signed up for like every travel agent site there was known demand, right? Didn't you? Like, isn't that what we all do, right? Like, so I signed up, and not only that, right, we're in the process of becoming a host agency. So I signed up with every host agency that we want to partner to offer that as a option. So the amount of email that I get alone overwhelms me. Like, if I opened up my email, like I remember one time I was sharing my screen and I had my email and I was sharing it at 37,000 email in my inbox. And I believe that number represents unopened email in my inbox. So literally, I spend my day scanning through email that is potentially the most important thing for me. I don't even have the bandwidth to get through it. That's called information overload. That's what the travel industry will do it. Most of this email are from travel suppliers, right? And so it's easy to get overwhelmed and not act, right? But let me tell you this. So before we talk about the tips, I've given you all that background, right? Hopefully you guys that's clicking right. Let me know in the comments, is this like something that you have experienced, that you're currently experiencing in your travel business? Let me know in the comments. Is this something, or just give me some hearts and let me know that that you can relate to this, right? Because maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm the one, right? Like I said, I do think that I do have a little bit of ADHD and that I am a little bit all over the place. But like, have you personally experienced these things in the start of your business, right? Overwhelmed, inundated, right? And many of you have businesses, right? You have families, right? One of my program coaches, she's a soccer mom, and like I think like the gymnast too. Like, so her kids, she's got kids who are in different multiple sports, and she's running a business, right? And she has a full-time job, right? So you've got all of these things that are competing for your attention, not to mention the distraction of social media, right? 10 years ago, right, social media wasn't as big, right? So I didn't spend hours looking at reels trying to decompress. I spent hours doing shit I should have been doing, like website development, right? The point is that we are inundated with information. And so I can use today's example as an example. I literally felt like I was drowning in information, and the only way to give myself a lifesaver was to stop. Like, I had to close it all down. I had to close it all down and be like, okay, stop trying to do all these things at one time, right? That's the first thing. So before I, again, go into the steps, what I want to do is, it sounds like you guys can relate to this. What I really want to impress upon you too, in this session, is that stop being a perfectionist, right? One and first one, like, give yourself permission. Well, let me rephrase this. Don't even give yourself permission. Expect that you're going to make mistakes. And the more mistakes you can make, the quicker, then that means that you're acting, right? So you want to make mistakes. You want those mistakes to happen so that you can fix them and you can move on, right? So the perfectionist in you, and I think we attract who we are, right? So I am totally type A, right? I think I'm turning more into type B and C. I don't know what those personality types are, but I am certainly trying to let go of more of the things that are not as critical to my success, right? So that's my first message to you. Stop being a perfectionist, right? Stop gathering information. Number two, stop seeking out information, because you probably have all of the information that you need to make a series of steps that are going to propel you forward. Does that make sense? Like, I want you to stop and I want you to ascertain, do you have enough information for you to do the following tips that I'm going to do? And if the answer to that is yes, then stop seeking out information until you implement those things. All right. So let's talk about what the tips are so that you can stop drowning in that information and then you can move yourself into action and you can start seeing incremental wins and then ultimately the types of wins that are going to hit you to your goal. Does that sound like a plan that you guys want to do? Like, it took me 30 minutes for us to get to this point, but hopefully I set the stage up correctly, right? So we're going to breeze through these let me I'm reading this book, which, you know, I love. Again, I'm an information seeker, but I committed to myself because what I found myself doing over the last couple of years is that I was just so much working on the business that I wasn't getting new strategy. I wasn't pouring into that portion of me that likes to learn. But I made a commitment that if I was going to learn a thing, that I was going to need to commit to implementation of some major takeaways or multiple takeaways from the thing that I was learning, right? Does that make sense? So I consume new information, but my commitment to myself is that if I'm going to read a new book, read an existing book, that I'm going to be able to take away from that. And if I can't take away something in the forward or the sample, I don't buy the book, right? So that's what I do. It's like, does it light the fire to what already the vision is? And if so, I will buy the book and then I start taking notes. And then we start developing like a phase 1, phase 2, and a phase 3 plan from the thing it is that I am learning. Does that make sense? Right? So here are the steps to go from knowledge hoarder to actor, an activator, an implementation type of person, because money loves momentum. Let me say that again. Money is attracted to things and in action. You cannot make money if you're not acting, right? Oftentimes people will start businesses and they'll say, I've started the business and then the sales will come. No, money is attracted to momentum. So if you are not in the state of acting and in moving, you're not going to make money, right? You want to make more money in your business, you need to create more movement, right? And I don't mean any kind of movement. I mean very strategic type of movement. Does that make sense? Like, let me know in the comments if that clicks, right? Money loves movement, and it's not just any type of movement. It needs to be strategic. So once you identify the strategy for the thing it is, then we're going to do the steps. So the first thing that you want to do is understand the vision, right? So many of you guys are doing or learning, but you don't have a vision. You don't have a vision for your business. You don't have a vision for what your travel business wants to accomplish, right? And it's more than just selling travel, right? What is the vision that you want to create for your business, right? Some of you will tell me generic vision statements, right? I want to create, residual income, right? I get that a lot. I want to have a passive income. I want to leave a legacy for my family, right? And these are all great visions, right? But what they lack is the substance for you to truly feel empowered to act. You made the decision to start a business, right? But with all the information that's around with you, before you, available to you, the vision is not clear enough to move you into action on the information that you get. Let me give you an example, right? This was a couple of months ago. I don't even think it's something recent, but a couple of months ago, I had a lady tell me, I was on a call with her, and she told me, I was like, have you taken any supplier training? And she goes, yeah, I've taken Disney. And I was like, oh, great. So is that what you want to specialize? And she was like, no, not really. I want to take Disney because I think, people love Disney and they want to buy it. I was like, well, do you like Disney? And she was like, not really. Then I'm like, why did you take it? Like, why did you seek out that information? Well, she sought that information out, which is why many of you all make a decision to sell a particular type of travel, is because you think that thing that particular type of travel is going to make you money. You're not really interested in it. It's not your passion, the area of travel that you've selected, right? And you think that you can make money. There's a lot of things that you can make money around. What I really want you to do is have a vision around how you're going to make money, right? What that means to you in terms of making, like, if you decide to do Disney because you want to make little Bambino's dreams come true, and you remember the first time you went to Disney and you saw Mickey Mouse's ears and you like had a tear in your eye and you remember that experience and you want to bring that experience to others, I get it. But if you want to sell Disney because you think the other, you hear that Disney's really popular and the commission's really high, you are bound for a failure, right? Right. So vision is the most important thing around the knowledge that you need to capture. Does that make sense? Like, you don't need to just go start getting information about things that are not aligned to your vision. You don't go take Disney training unless you want to immerse yourself in Disney. Disney is not the type of training that you go off and be like, I'm going to go get Disney certified today, right? Let me go take Disney and so I can start selling it. Like, you don't sell Disney, you breathe Disney, right? That's what you need to do in the areas of your travel business, is have a vision that you can breathe, right? I think I'm going to write that down. Like, have a vision that you are going to breathe, right? Does that make sense? Right. So that's number one, right? So once you have a vision that you can breathe life into, that you really want to immerse yourself into, then you can get yourself out of drowning mode in the information spectrum. Okay. So the first step, once you've defined your vision, you know what it is that you want to immerse yourself in, what area of travel you want to do, right? And again, it can't be too generic, right? It can't be, well, I want to do all inclusive. Well, that doesn't tell me. Literally, you could spend hundreds of suppliers immersing yourself in all inclusive travel. That's not a specific enough type of vision, right? So the number two thing is, after you've determined what your vision is, the number two thing is that you want to create a plan around that. Don't go seek out any information until you figure out a plan. Right. So maybe you do some preliminary information gathering, but don't go all in an area when you don't even know anything about it. So like, if you are in, and so these steps are applicable no matter what stage you are in your process. Like, so if you don't have a vision yet and you're trying to figure out a vision, well, let's figure out a plan. The first thing is, you gotta do a little bit of research, some preliminary research, to figure out what area you want to specialize in, right? Does that make sense? Right. So you don't go all in. Like, maybe you go find out what classes are available in the area that you are interested in. You start doing some market research to see if the thing that you're interested in is viable, it's interesting to you. It's not something that you think is just a fad, right? That's what you do, right? So you create a plan of action to go gather information, right? And then once you get a plan, what you need to then do, number three, is you need to take action, right? So I don't want you to get one more piece of information unless you are committed to take action on that piece of information, right? Or create 1 to 3 major takeaways that you can then create action. So stop consuming information that you're not able to take action on, right? Stop it. Like, just stop it. If it's not a part of your vision, 1, 2, it's not a part of the plan, number 2, then don't do it. Like, stop doing it. So in this conversation I was having with my friend the other day, like, as an entrepreneur, the brain does not stop. Like, the amount of things that we can think about and come up with in terms of ideas is never ending, because that's the way our brains are designed as an entrepreneur. Like, ideas don't, like, you're never going to stop having ideas. Like, so literally the conversation that we had was, like, every idea that I had goes on a list, right? Not every idea that I have is worth my time in 1, investigation, 2, in planning, 3, is not aligned to my big vision, right? It's something that I may want to go do in the future. So let it sit on a Spark file or a note list that you keep. And when you've got some bandwidth and you're surfing, you know, you know, the new reels that are on Facebook, TikTok, and everything else, you can refer to your list and see if it's something you want to pick up, right? So the number 3 is action, right? Get yourself in the mode of consuming, takeaway, action. Consume, takeaway, action. So you can reuse that word consume as you learn a thing, you get your takeaways from that thing, which is your actions that you must take, and then you go do the actions, right? Does that make sense? Like those are the steps, and that's the way. And let me tell you, I know the steps, and it's something that I have to do on a regular. I do it every day when I start my day. Throughout the day, if I find myself getting off task, it's like, what am I doing? Because literally my eye is like this, right? I'm working on something and I'm like, a thought goes across my mind. If I don't go put it on my action item list or my Spark file or something I'm going to want to do later, I will look up and 3 hours will be gone and I'm down a rabbit hole that has nothing to do with what I need to get done, right? And then I'm going to go seek out, because again, I'm a researcher. So I'm going to go out and I'm going to go look at, you know, how do you do this thing and how do you do that? Oh, well, how do you do that? And then that's going to lead, right? So you've got to get into the habit of stopping. If you're a knowledge seeker, stop seeking out the knowledge, put it on the to-do list for something if it's not aligned to the immediate plan, right? So that's number 3. And then the last item that you want to do is don't do a thing you can't measure. Does that make sense? Don't do a thing you cannot measure. If you can't look back at the thing that you're working on and determine the results, ask yourself, why are you doing it? Right? So if you are doing something, and so let's use, we just launched our new store. We just launched it over the weekend. We launched a new retail store. We're selling t-shirts, you know, journals, cups, and that type of thing, right? And so we had me, because I'm the one who's got the problem, right? I had this tendency of, I had this desire to like sit on the store, not launch the store yet, because I was like, oh, we need more graphics, we need more this. But I forced myself to act so that I could measure the results. I could see, right, one, did the ordering process go right? You know, is it taking, how much time is it taking of mine? You know, I had the vision in my head of how it was going to work. But if I had waited to launch this, let's say at the beginning of the year, that's information that I couldn't make decisions on, right? I couldn't fix those things and I couldn't look at the results and then make decisions on that. So your job as the CEO of your company, because that's what it is, right? What you don't want to do is become a task doer in your own business, that you're not at a level that you can then make strategic decisions, right? So I had a meeting with one of the team members today, and right, like I'm not like doing all of the right. And when you start, I get it. When you start, you've got to be the task doer, but your goal in your business should be defining the strategy, defining the vision, ensuring that the resources are there to implement the vision that you want, and making sure activation is occurring in your business. Does that make sense, right? So you want to consume, so you want to learn, you want to get your takeaways, your action plan, and then you want to actually do the action that you're supposed to do, right? And then the last thing is you want to measure the results, right? Measure the results, and then don't be afraid to walk away, right? I'm going to say that again. Don't be afraid to walk away if the results don't get you what you like, if they don't get you what you want. Now, I'm not saying don't like abandon everything that you don't hit the first goal. That's not what I mean. What I mean is like, if a thing is not working, one, it's not bringing you joy. Two, it's not working the way that you envision, or you learned after implementing, and whatever reason it is, don't be afraid to walk away. Like, don't be so tied to your action that you're like, I gotta escape. I just gotta keep doing it, right? That's a recipe for disaster as well. Take it from somebody who's learned, right? I, for years did a business that it was like, I'd already started it. I can't stop. You can always stop. You're the CEO. You can always stop. You can always stop, course correct, restart over. Always give yourself that permission to do that. make sure that one, you're enjoying the thing that you're doing, and two, that you have the results and the information and the data that allow you to make the correct decision. Like, information should be gathered to help you make decisions quicker. Does that make sense? Like, stop gathering information for FYI. Like, we don't have enough brain capacity. You got already too much other extraneous shit going on in your life. Do not just start gathering information so it can sit on the collective desk in your head. First, we don't have the brain power. Like, we do have the brain power, but don't do it to yourself. Like, that's how you drown. Stop the drowning, right? Learn the thing, implement the thing, right? Or throw it away, right? Don't I will not continue a book. Like I said, when I download the sample of a book, do not get something out of it, and I don't get one or two takeaways from the first part of the sample, I don't read it. If I continue to read a book and I'm not getting takeaways that I can implement immediately, that go on my short and long-term list, I stop reading it, right? Don't be afraid to stop, right? Like, I feel like sometimes we get in so much momentum that we can't just stop and be like, is this still serving me? Are the people that I'm around still serving me? Are the actions that I'm taking or the information that I'm gathering, is it really still aligned to that vision? So I'm always rechecking, reevaluating the vision that I've set. Daily vision, right? My daily objective, my overall long-term objectives, right? That's something that I'm constantly doing. You want to be an activator. You want to be an action taker. You don't want to be somebody that sits and then mulls over. That's trying to perfect it. Oh, let me do this, right? Like, again, if I hadn't launched the store, I wouldn't have learned the 5 to 10 different things I learned about being in this retail space again. I had a store many years ago, but the landscape's changed. I needed to learn what I needed to learn in order to do that. If I sat on the information and was like, let me gather more information, let's do more, instead of getting it out there and getting it into the market and testing it, I never would have learned and got the data that I needed that's really going to allow us to propel forward. All right. Does that make sense to everybody? Right? What I want you to do is take away from this training is information is great. There's, maybe there's a couple of buckets of information. There's information that's for entertaining, right? But most of the time when we're in knowledge-seeking mode in our business, we are not trying to get entertained. We are trying to get information so we can make decisions about A, B, C, whatever decision it is, right? When it's new and you're new in the business, about what is the information you need to launch? What is the information you need to operate? What is the information you need to serve your clients? What is the information that you need? Right? It's all about how to get the business in momentum. Your objective right now in your travel business is to get the first sale, right? Is to get the product defined so you can make your first sale. The second objective is how do you rinse and repeat that, right? You shouldn't be thinking about automation right now. You shouldn't be thinking about how am I going to get 15,000 different suppliers. It should be how am I going to get the first sale and how do I rinse and repeat it? All right, does that make sense, right? So let's focus the information that you get so that one, you can get that first sale, two, you create a system of repeatability so you get second sale, third sale, fourth sale, right? And then once you're getting multiple sales, then you can start thinking about automation. First, so oftentimes we're worried about trying to get the cart before the horse, so to speak, right? Focus on getting the first sale. What do you need to do to get the first sale? What do you need to have in place to get the first sale? How do you get the second sale? And how do you rinse and repeat, right? Get enough data so that you can then make some additional decisions about automation and that kind of stuff. All right, listen, that's all I got. But here's an activation and action for you to take. Listen, if you are new to the travel business, right? Maybe you just started your travel business. Maybe you've been in your travel business and you need to relaunch. Maybe you're not making sales. Maybe you're not hitting the sales that you want to do. We've got a boot camp this weekend that's going down this Saturday. Now listen, this boot camp is not an information session. This boot camp is an action session, right? So this boot camp is about learning, acting, making some decisions about your business, and then I'm going to give you a long-term action plan for you to then go take that off, right? So if that's something that your business needs, then you're going to want to sign up for this boot camp. This is the last one we're doing of the year, and then we're done. I just mentioned we got 3 weeks left of the year, and then we are done for the year. 2021 is a wrap. We are 3 weeks away for us wrapping it up, putting a bow on it, and talking about history, right? So if you are interested in learning how to successfully launch your travel business or relaunch your travel business, then you're going to want to sign up for this free boot camp. We are doing it. It's going down on a Saturday at 9 a.m. Eastern, and we're going to be working together the full day till 2 p.m. And we're going to be talking about the building blocks, and we're going to be taking action on those building blocks so that you can launch a travel business, that one that you are proud, that's going to allow you to get that first, second, third, and fourth sale consistently and profitably. All right, so I'm going to put the link in the comments, and then if you have any questions about enrollment, it's pretty simple enrollment. Just give me your email address. I think your email address, your name, and your phone number, and we'll get you enrolled, and we start Saturday. You'll get the information for the enrollment on for Saturday. And I thought I had this in my copy, but I did not. So let me give it to you right now. There you go. All you have to do is go to that site right there to register, and we will see you on Saturday. Let me know if you have any questions, and I will see you next Monday. Have a great evening. Talk to you soon.